Colonial, your inside access to all the news on the American Revolution. I'm Charity Gray.
And I'm Fanny Chartreuse. On tonight's show, we will be giving you some top secret intel on the progress of the American Revolution.
And now we go to Hecuba Brown, who has your inside scoop on the First Continental Congress.
Charity, I'm here as member of the First Continental Congress, Samuel Ward.
Thanks for having me, Hecuba.
So, Mr. Ward, what exactly is the Continental Congress?
Well, ever since the French and Indian War, the British have started taxing us unfairly. It's simply unacceptable. So, we formed this Congress to start a boycott against all British products, as we explained in our letter to Prime Minister Grenville.
Would you mind explaining what good boycotting would do?
Well, if we stop paying for British products, then Grenville will have no choice but to lift the taxes.
What a good idea, Samuel. If I was a colonist, I would most certainly be on board. Thank you for your time.
What an engaging interview.
Now we have exclusive footage of Grenville's reaction of the First Continental Congress boycott.
Mr. Grenville, how do you feel about the colonists' actions?
I am utterly outraged. If anything, they should be thanking us. You know, we did make them what they are today.
Well, you know, many of the colonists are upset about the rise of taxes.
The rise of taxes? They haven't even been paying taxes until now. You know, because of their unexcusable actions, I've decided to tax something very dear to them. Their tea.
Wow, a bold move, Mr. Grenville. I'm interested to see how this will play out. Thank you for your time, sir.
Breaking news. We just received a special treat from Boston, showing the events that just happened. Let's take a look.
British raised our taxes again. It's like the 20th time this month. Right? I'm sick of it. This is ridiculous. I'm done. That's why I decided to throw a party. A party? A tea party where we smash some stuff. And then finally, they may take us seriously. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, how shocking.
That just hurt my little tea-drinking soul.
I wonder what the repercussions will be. Hecuba?
The British have just posted the Coercive Acts, a new series of laws they've imposed on the colonists. As a colonist, how do you feel about these acts?
These acts are intolerable. I mean, closing our ports, limiting our town meetings, and appointing our leaders, that is unfair. They have no right to do that.
I completely understand how you feel this way. Thank you.
The time has come to call together our troops to defend ourselves, our homes from British invasion, and our rights to live free of oppression.
Rally the troops!
Get off my couch! I most certainly did. I don't know what they're doing. They're British colonists. They don't need an army. We protect them. I declare it illegal.
They can't do this! Everyone! Let's try to calm down. Make some peace. Just write the letter to the British.
Okay, how does this sound? We, the 13 colonies of America, hereby swear our dutiful allegiance to the Crown and ask that we all settle down and go back to being friends. We didn't mean to scare you guys. Sorry. Sincerely, the Second Continental Congress.
That sounds about right.
Yeah? Okay, let's sign this. Now it's off to the British.
I received a petition from the Americas, sir.
What is this? Those guys are a little bunch of rebellious punks. I don't even need to read this to know that they have something up their sleeve. Rejected!
Thank you for your time, sir.
They rejected our petition.
I know. All we were trying to do was make peace, and he shut us down.
Well, you know, I heard about this new pamphlet called Common Sense.
I heard about that too. Maybe we should start listening to what it says.
Good idea.
Are you familiar with Common Sense, Fanny?
The pamphlet by Thomas Paine? Of course I am. What a simply fantastic document. It opened my eyes to new possibilities, that's for sure.
Me too. Some very interesting points were raised by Mr. Paine.
True, true. He has a very unique perspective on our situation with Mother England.
But I'm still not convinced on all of the ideas. Oh, but I could be soon. Hecuba Brown is standing by with Mr. Paine himself, ready for an interview.
How fascinating! Over to you, Hecuba.
Fanny. So, Mr. Paine, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks.
For those of our viewers who are unaware of your writing and its purpose, would you mind reading a bit to us and explaining what it means?
Sure, I'll read from my section on the state of American affairs. I've heard it asserted by some that as America has flourished under her former connection with Great Britain, the same connection is necessary towards her future happiness. Nothing can be more fallacious than this kind of argument. We may as well assert that because a child has starved upon milk that it is never to have meat. But Britain is the parent country, say some. Europe, and not England, is the parent country of America. This new world hath been the asylum for the persecuted lovers of civil and religious liberty from every part of Europe. Hither have they fled, not from the tender embraces of the mother, but from the cruelty of the monster, and it is so far true of England that the same tyranny which drove the first immigrants from home pursues their descendants still.
That's very interesting. What was the intention of this section?
It's written in the hopes of making it clear that England is in no manner a savior, that they could be considered a detriment to American commerce and society. In my opinion, the time has arrived for us to separate completely from England.
Interesting. You have some support from big names. We've received tips that George Washington himself has read from your works to his troops. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Hekiba. And what you said about Washington reading Common Sense, we just received video footage of him reading to the entirety of his troops.
This has big implications on the morale of the troops. Let's see the footage for ourselves.
From the heirs of other nations, let us learn wisdom!
That was just moving, wasn't it, Charity?
Most definitely. Mr. Payne had some great points, and I am now convinced that a war for independence is now in our future.
I think that you're right. And to prove that, we now go to the Second Continental Congress, where something huge is about to happen. The signing of the Declaration of Independence. Okay, I've been working on this all night, and I think I finally have something.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, I said that all people have unalienable rights, which the government cannot infringe upon. And people should have a say in the government and live independently.
That's true.
The British have infringed upon these rights. Therefore, we declare our independence.
I think that sounds perfect.
Okay, I have the final draft.
Okay, let's sign.
Touching little spiel that was.
I agree. However, there's still the matter of the colonies to win the war. I mean, how in the world are they going to pull that off?
Well, a little bird told me that the colonists have just won the Battle of Saratoga.
Well, that'll definitely give them an edge on the war to come.
Now to our friend, Hecuba Brown.
As we all know, it was foreign intervention that allowed us to win the war against the British. But what was it that finally made the French decide to help out the colonies?
Well, the French nation, including myself, has a strong hatred for all things British. So when we heard that the colonists had a chance to win the war, we decided to jump on the opportunity to get revenge on the British for the loss of the 7 Years' War.
Well, those are questionable motives for an honorable cause, our independence. But we sure are grateful for the French help, aren't we, Fanny?
We certainly are, Hecuba. Now it seems like the war is finally coming to an end, doesn't it, Charity?
It sure does. And now we have a special map to show you, giving you a look at how the war actually ended.
As you can see, we have a map with different colored figures. The gold representing the colonies, the green representing the Spanish, the blue representing the Prussians, the white representing the French, and the red representing the British. In the beginning of the war, the British were defeating the colonies. But after the Americans found new strength during the Battle of Saratoga, this allowed the French, along with the Spanish and the Prussians, to help the colonies defeat the British. So now you see how the British were defeated.
What type of revolution do you think this was, Fanny?
Well, I personally thought it was conservative because the colonists were striving to create their own country and gain independence from Britain more than striving for equality.
I guess I could see that, but I feel it was also a bourgeoisie revolution because it was the middle class rising up to defeat the British.
I agree. But wasn't it also nationalistic? Because they were creating their own country, I guess.
I don't think it was nationalistic just because they were creating their own country, but they were more creating smaller states within that one country.
Very good point, Charity. Well, that's all we have for today. Thanks for tuning in.
I'm Charity Gray.
And I'm Fanny Chartreuse.
See you next time on The Colonial.